All right. I'm just going to settle down here and look at a deck that someone sent me on Twitter. Let's see what we got here. Is that showing up? I think it is. Okay. Whoa. Almost had an echo there. Okay, so this is a Runetail Kitsune Ascendant deck. Runetail is a 3-mana Fox Monk. When you have 30 or more life, you get to flip it into Runetail's Essence. You prevent all damage that would be dealt to creatures you control. That's a very powerful ability. And from what I'm seeing here, actually, let me go over to Twitter here in a second, just for some more context. But a lot of these cards, I mean, this is a pretty solid deck from what I'm seeing. Don't know what's up with YouTube. Is YouTube sending out a notification? Should be sending out a notification. I don't know why it's not. That's odd. Okay. I'm not the biggest fan of Planeswalkers. I don't know, whenever I see them, they have to synergize. They have to synergize with the commander, or else I don't feel like they're worth playing. That's my only gripe, though. That's like my personal problem with them. All-Merit's Archive is just a really difficult card to get a hold of, so I'm glad it finally got reprinted. And Aetherflux Reservoir is at $17 on TCG Player. Wow, that card shot up. I mean, it's one of the better cards, one of the better win cons in Commander, so why not? And enchantments look pretty solid here too. So we got some people in here now. Yeah, YouTube's, I don't know. YouTube's kind of funny. Sometimes it decides to send out notifications before time, so we get more people in here. Sometimes it doesn't. But this is a Runetail deck. Let me stop sharing. Let me share. Where is it? This is it. So this is my Twitter. Yeah, I just started a Twitter not so long ago, and I started a Twitter with the whole purpose of connecting with people and seeing what I can do, seeing if there are people who want to collaborate potentially down the road. And people have been sending me some decks. I think this is like the second person linked to their Architect deck with their Runetail. And this is this guy Colin said, Commander Void, I've been a long time viewer and saw that you were doing deck doctors. I did one for Thantis. Here is my mono white deck that I've been fixing up recently. I just need a fresh pair of eyes to look at it. So that's what I've been looking at for the first few minutes here. So I said, yep, sweet. And that's kind of how you connect to me. So if anyone's watching this after the fact, you want to send a deck for me to look at, I might make a video about it. And yeah, let me stop sharing that. Oh, wow. Cool. Logan Hop here. Thank you for the $20. Very generous. Thanks for the years of entertainment. You got it. Absolutely. I always appreciate support from people who've been watching me for a while. Every now and then I see someone in the chat, or in the comment section, I should say. And YouTube is really cool in the studio. You'll be able to see who's been subscribed to you and how long just by hovering over their comment. So it'll say 3-year viewer, or three-year subscriber, I should say. So that's how long they've been subscribed, and that's such a cool feature too. So again, thank you, Logan. Very generous with the $20 super chat there. And you've also said, crazy to see you at 20K. I've been around a long time. I think this is also a cool live stream that I'm going to do here. And a lot of that is to just talk about kind of what inspired me. There was this other YouTuber that I mean, everything's kind of derivative. Whenever you see a new YouTuber with a series, it's always going to be something someone else did and they really liked it and they wanted to do it themselves. I liked the YouTuber Roxaboxin90. I think that's what his username was. But he stopped making content right around the time I started getting into watching content. So this was like 6 or 7 years ago. And Roxaboxin was awesome. I loved all of his top 10 videos. That's why I do top 10 videos. He did them in colors. So it was very much, and the way he did it too, he was very strict with his criteria. And each color, he gave a very solid reason for why certain colors or why certain cards were ranked the way they were. And that's kind of what I took inspiration from. Uh, and then I kind of did things that were on my own. I decided to do things that I don't think other people were doing at the time. And that's where I came up with the underrated commander cards videos. So those are the videos where I'll go and look at 10 cards that I think are underplayed, undervalued in the format. And then that's what I do from then. That's what I do from there. I just make a whole video. It's not a top 10 video. It's just 10 random cards and just talk about them. And I think there's some other channels that took inspiration from that. So I'm not a big channel by any means, but I have been around long enough to where I feel like some people have taken inspiration from what I've done, and that means a lot to me. So Austin Davis was first one here. I'm definitely looking forward to this. So that was before the stream started. Vidius 808, congrats, man. Thank you so much. So I'm going to go back to looking at this this deck. And it's something that a viewer tweeted at me. And this is all for like Deck Doctor stuff. So for the Thantis Deck Doctor video I did, it was pretty much just going through and trying to not perfect it necessarily, because I don't want to sound all like egotistical like I can perfect a deck, but I will pretty much add everything I can to improve it. So yeah, Runetail, Kitsune Ascendant. Now this is a deck that's all about combat. You want to take advantage of the fact that damage won't be dealt to your creatures. So looking at Runetail, the condition for flipping is one of the easiest conditions to meet. When you have 30 or more life, flip it. Well, Commander life totals start at 40, so very easy to meet that condition. And then once you're there, it's not to say that you can't have other abilities that are very similar. So you're going to want other things here. I think we see it. Where's the other card that prevents combat damage? Is it an enchantment that I'm thinking of? But anyway, you're going to want other things that will synergize with that. It doesn't have to do exactly that, but you really want to take advantage of the fact that your creatures are indestructible. There is a card that also does the same exact thing, unless I'm remembering incorrectly, and it's not in here. Oh well. You do want cards in here that will take advantage of the fact that damage won't be dealt to your creatures. So you're going to see Pariah Shield. All damage that would be dealt to you is dealt to equipped creature instead. So you pretty much make it so that you can't be dealt damage. Taking advantage of Runetail, which protects your creatures, makes it so they can't be dealt damage. Instead, that's your benefit right there. You won't be dealt damage. So Logan says, tells me I've been subscribed since August 2018. Or 2018. Why did I say 2018? Thank you. Thank you so much for that. I mean, that's a long time. I started in 2017, and I didn't really take off until 2018. I think I maybe got to 1,000 late 2017. I feel like I got to 1,000 subs the summer of 2017. So I got far then. And 2017 channel growth was so much easier. Let me tell you, Going back to 2017, it was just fun, letting loose. And I didn't really try to make videos for the algorithm. I just tried to make videos that I wanted to make. And they ended up being really awkward in retrospect. I'm a lot better at talking, I'm a lot better at editing. So my video quality has gone up. But going back 2017, there was a lot of room for growth back then as a YouTuber. Unfortunately, I think just the Magic the Gathering YouTube community, there's a heavy saturation of content creators. It's not to say you can't find your place here. It's just going to be a bit harder, I think. All right. Yep. So 3 years. Peter Carrington. Well done, bud. Thank you so much. Do you have an intentional delay or does YouTube do that? I think YouTube does that. I think YouTube has a delay, uh, especially on live streams. Especially on live streams. It's really weird. YouTube, they've been around forever doing this with live streams and they still mess up every single time. Deviated 88. Congrats on the 20K, boss. Well, thank you so much. And if I haven't done it yet this stream, let me do it right now. Wasabi. Oh, God. I love doing that. I love doing that. I miss doing that. I felt like I had to mature and grow as a content creator, so I stopped doing that a long time ago. But now I'm like, screw it. People keep asking for it, so I'm bringing it back. How long was that? That had to be at least like 12 seconds. Maybe 15 seconds. I'm trying to do it longer every video if you couldn't tell. So I'm just having fun here looking at this deck, and I might do a deck doctor video on it, but I really don't feel like I have to. This guy's deck is pretty solid. Yeah, Colin's deck here is pretty good. Only thing I would change, I'm a very high synergy guy. I like high synergy. That's my preference. So I would focus more on indestructible synergies. That's just me though. Um, Angel of Jubilation just seems like good stuff white. Uh, you have and good stuff white isn't really bad in mono white. Like I would totally play Mangara the Diplomat regardless of what white commander I was playing because that's just insane value in card draw that you don't really find elsewhere in white. Palisade Giant, great synergy. Great synergy. You want cards like these. I think more of this stuff, if possible. That's what I would probably go for. Protector of the Crown. Just great cards here. Resplendent Angel. I mean, this is kind of what I'm noticing here. There's a life gain sub theme, and you have a win con here and Test of Endurance. So maybe that's what Colin here is going for. Just a win con with life gain, just so he has something to win with. And you see that with the Johnny Strength of the Pride. Approach of the Second Sons and another life gain win con. Get some board wipes in here. I think, yeah, board wipes, that's what you want to take advantage of as well. How many? Only 6 sorceries there, so I'm not noticing a ton of board wipes. That's one thing I would add. Or I guess it doesn't matter, right? It's damage, so never mind. I read that wrong. Yeah, life gain with Alamerit's Archive. So that seems to be what Colin decided to go with here instead of just focusing solely on the indestructible, or not indestructible, but on preventing damage. Decided to go with some kind of life gain sub theme. I like Planar Bridge. Doesn't see enough play. Sword of Feast and Famine for combat. And in white, Sword of the Animist is a must-have. Hey, the man, the myth, the legend. Zach Attack 16. How's it going? Just chilling out here Tuesday night, an impromptu stream. I haven't really streamed too often. I think the last time I streamed was a couple weeks ago. Just chilling out, making a deck. Got the new snow-covered plains in this one. Yeah, Miria the Sky Ruin. I played a casual commander game, and it was just a Miria. We were all playing mono white. My play group, I don't know if you guys saw the last video I did. We like to choose different themes now. And one of the themes that we chose was mono white. So we all played with the mono white deck. And I think my commander, the nine-tailed fox one. I don't know why I'm blanking on its name, but it's the one that gives protection from white. Or it's the one that can make permanents white and then give protection from white, I think. That was my commander. I thought it was a great option to play in that kind of game. And I just sat on Emiria the Sky Ruin, and I had like 30 lands. That's how long this game went on in mono white. I just kept getting my creatures back with Emiria. Just a crazy card in casual. So I don't know. I don't think I have to do too much here. If I were to fix this, get good value here at Dranith Magistrate. Teferi's Protection, Sword, Silence. I don't know how competitive this deck is going to be, so I don't know if you want to leave Silence in there. There's nothing really in here that screams you need to win in one turn. Aryok Champion, more themes, more life gain themes. Oh yeah, 8.5 tails. Yeah, 8.5 tails. I keep calling it the 9-tailed fox because of Naruto. Yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of good stuff white in here. There's a lot of life gain in here that I would probably ease up on. But for Colin's deck, I think he did pretty well. Did pretty well. I would totally play with this deck. I think it's a well-rounded deck. You get plenty of mana production. I know what each category is here already, even though it's not split up into different categories. For the strategy, I mean. Like I already know, well, what cards are going to do this? What cards are going to do that? So I don't know. I might take a look at it. I might make a deck doctor video on that deck. But I really just wanted to relax here. I just wanted to have some fun. Talk to people about the YouTube and stuff. And let me get some water here. So, yeah, you literally have it right here in front of you. And you were considering building 8.5 tails. Well, it's a fun deck. It's really fun. It's especially fun if your play group is all playing white. Yeah, they got a good kick out of that. Like everyone, they had some kind of secret tech where they were playing those spells that only hurt white cards. So that just made it a lot more fun. You've been able to get some games in with Greed, it performing for you? Not recently. Not recently. Were you the one who recommended Greed for the Felisa deck? I think you're the one who recommended Greed. It's weird because I don't normally play Greed. I look at the 4 mana and I kind of stay away from it. I don't own an actual Greed. That's one of the weirdest things. It's not because obviously I can afford it, but it's just never really it's never been one of those cards I just have to have, so I kind of stayed away from it. Okay, so yeah, you were the guy who recommended Greed. Well, that's awesome. It's awesome. Yeah, I might do another one of those Monday night deck streams where I just spend the whole time building. I think that would be a lot of fun. But yeah, I want to talk more about like the YouTube stuff because I think it's just fun getting into the rhythm of making YouTube content and just focusing on what works for people, what people are looking forward to seeing. I want to make more of those kinds of videos that people, they recommend to people, they share, and that's why I'm on Twitter too. So let me share Twitter one more time, and that's where I got the deck list from. This is Colin, and he tweeted out to me his Archidect link, and that was for Runetail. So this is what people have been doing now. I think this is the second person. You just tweet my handle, and let me look at my profile. So that's pretty much, got 12 followers, but I created the account earlier this month. So I've just been chilling out. I haven't really been doing much. I haven't been posting too much here. But yeah, I would like to just get involved more in the community. I'd like to reach out to other creators or allow other creators to reach out to me because I haven't been on social media. I've pretty much just done the YouTube thing. Personally, I enjoy your deck techs. You've got an interesting take on builds, and I always end up seeing cards or synergies I didn't know about. That's the cool thing about making decks, is that I'll just do a lot of the keyword search on Scryfall and just look through a database like that, and I'll find cards I didn't really know about, or I'll figure out by searching for a certain keyword, like, oh wow, I didn't know that worked out well. I didn't know that that would synergize with this other card. So I just end up finding and discovering cards like that too. And what's even cooler is that if by doing a lot of those deck tech videos that you're talking about, for especially newer commanders, when they just come out, I'll notice that whenever you look on something like edhrec.com, then I see those cards recommended. I see the cards that I thought, wow, this is unusual, it's weird, and it's something I just discovered. And then I noticed, other people after watching my deck tech videos, they also agree and they pick that card. And it's like it's one of those things that it's beyond a coincidence. I'm not the biggest YouTuber, but I know when I have some kind of influence because then I'll see some weird card being recommended on a website like EDHREC. Jerry Bryant, I am wanting to build a CEDH Gitrog monster, and how would I go about that? I'm looking for ways to get back all my cards from the grave by using flashback and dredge, but I want the deck optimized. Well, my buddy, who I played a commander deck, played a commander game with, he has a commander deck built around the Gitrog monster, and while I don't think it's competitive EDH, it's pretty darn competitive. Um, Pretty much the whole point. I don't know about flashback. You might want to stay away from flashback. I don't know how well that's going to work out. You just want to focus on lands. Pretty much just lands, and that's all you really need. And then to play more competitively, then you're going to go for cheaper spells. Let me just look it up right now. Let me just look it up. I'm going to go look for competitive EDH decks. Deck list database. If I can talk tonight. So let me find the specific one. So this is a Gitrog Dakmore combo. Let me share the screen. Okay, so this is a collaborative Gitrog monster primer. And this is kind of, yeah, these are all competitive EDH decks on the website, the CEDH deck list database. So this is a collaborative Gitrog monster competitive EDH deck. And you're going to see a little bit of everything. My friend's deck was more about landfall, but this is going to be pretty much just good tech cards. I mean, that's what a lot of competitive decks are. You just have stuff like Alisara's Shepherd, just because it's quick and it can prevent your opponents from countering your spells. You get Ramp Heater and creatures, you get Dark Confidant. And then you do have Golgari Grave Troll because you have Dredge as an option. You also have some weird, I have to look and see exactly what the deck is in the primer. But you also get some newer cards here, Opposition Agent, Putrid Imp. You have Threshold as an option too. And you can discard a card from your hand. It gains flying until end of turn, so you have pretty much a discard for whatever you want. Ramanop Excavator, land. Sylvan Safekeeper, another land synergy. And once you get a lot of lands, you get a lot of mana. Eldrazi, you're pretty good. So, and this is another infinite, or not infinite discard, but you can discard however many times you want to with something like a Wild Mongrel. And yeah, you're just going to play good control spells. Good control here. Let me look at the primer. Where's the primer? Here it is. Okay. Nope, that's not it. Let me find it. It's got to be somewhere here. All right. So introduction and description. The Gitrog monster has been the premier Golgari commander since its release in March 2016. It is primarily a linear combo deck with the great depth and resiliency found in few other commanders. As a powerful value engine and combo piece, Gitrog is able to play into virtually any metagame with reasonable certainty, albeit with a wide skill range. The primary draw of Gitrog is, of course, the combo engine it enables, together with a discard outlet and Dakmor Salvage, so this is the Dredge land, along with an Eldrazi Titan enabler. We are able to weave between dredging and drawing to draw every card in the library. So let's see the usually detailed combos. Usually, not always. Okay, game plan. Early game and opening hand. Before going through our decks, just a lot of stuff in these primers. Where do we get to the combos? It's really hard to explain this deck because that's what a lot of competitive decks are. They're just all around versatile decks. It's all about high interaction, being able to respond to whatever situation you're faced with. All right. So, yeah, I mean, to answer your question, I don't know if I can, but I think it's pretty much, a lot of, those CEDH decks, they all share a similar shell. So you're going to notice that if you're playing green and black, you're pretty much going to play 80 to 90% of the same cards that other green and black decks are going to play. Because there is an optimized card, in the 99. Like, you're not going to replace Demonic Tutor if you're playing black. You know what I mean? And once we found Opposition Agent, that pretty much has a permanent home. So the same is true for other things like Allosaurus Shepherd, good control spells. And that's pretty much, that's what I'm talking about there. But going back to my friend's deck, my friend's deck is pretty much landfall, and it's still pretty competitive, just not CEDH. Commander the Gathering. My deck videos are too long-winded. Haha. Yeah, I mean, I think I started out making a lot of videos and I wasn't comfortable. I wasn't comfortable recording my own voice yet. So, and I also didn't know how to edit. Like, I didn't know how to edit out long pauses or just stutters and whatnot. So my videos ended up being kind of awkward earlier on, and then as I went on, I learned how to edit. I've learned how to, speak clearly. So if you're a channel and you're having troubles with that, just practice and time. And competitive can be a relative word. So, of course, Gitrog's main CEDH deal is to land Dakmor salvage into your graveyard. Yes. X-Proof Anarchist. Hey, congratulations, Void. Thank you so much. Void, what's your favorite commander that you do not have? That's a toughie. My favorite commander that I do not have would probably be one that it's just releasing and I haven't been able to buy yet. And it might be Belladros. I really like Belladros. I think Belladros is a commander option I would play. I'm trying to think of like Commander 2021. Outside of like newer stuff, it would probably have to be a rather expensive commander option. Favorite commander option that I do not have. Thinking maybe Angus Mackenzie. Angus Mackenzie. I would like an Angus Mackenzie. Gitrog's big drawback is the higher power level you play him at, he's so focused on needing to be out that your opponents are going to prioritize removing him. Absolutely. That's the key to stopping that deck, is to stop the card draw engine. You can stop the card draw engine, you're really done. I mean, there's nothing to really be afraid of. Is there a commander in CEDH you do not immediately target? I think there are definitely some. And those are mostly, I would say, like Thrasios. Thrasios is a commander that I don't think people immediately target because there's not really a massive threat in Thrasios, at least for most decks. Oh, so you guys are having your own conversation. That's funny. All right, Parker, the thing about CEDH is that the commander is another card in your hand that you will always draw. So having a combo piece in your command zone is pretty common. Maybe like Kenrith would maybe be safe. I think it's mostly like those commanders like Thrasios. They're not like a known part of a combo. They're just really good for card draw value, whatever you need. I have 60 plus commander decks, and being competitive is not what I care about. I go for fun and have a few more cutthroat decks. Yeah, I mean, God, I'm like right there with you. I don't think I've ever had 60 commander decks. I've totally played 60 plus commander decks in my life. Definitely more. But at one time, I think at most I owned like 30 commander decks. But the problem that I have with Commander the Gathering, the problem that I have with whenever I build a lot of decks is that I inevitably want to take them apart and build something new. So there's never like a deck I have laying around that has stayed together for a long period of time. Because it's always something I'm going to take apart and use to build another deck. I don't know, it's something weird with me. Yeah, 60 plus commander decks. That is quite a few. Belladros, good choice. I thought about the Prismari myself, the Elder Dragon, but I got hung up on his ability being limited to instants and sorceries. It's not bad. Just have enough spell sling decks myself. Yeah, that's my problem with what is his name again? Prismari. Is that it's basically like it's just a blue-red version of Urza, but with a ton of downside. So if you like the fact that you can play more of a spell slinger theme with them, and go for it, because it's better for the theme overall. Though I don't know. I just don't find that interesting. Congrats for the subs. We are waiting for an Osgear upgrade. So is that an Osgear? I don't know if I make a video for Osgear? Or are you just asking for an Osgear deck? I mean, it's always possible I make an Osgear deck here soon. I've got 8 commander decks so far, says Hexproof Anarchist. And that's a lot too. I don't know if I think I have like I don't even know if I have one actual commander deck put together right now. That's how crazy I am. I've taken apart so many of them. I have stacks of cards everywhere, but I don't actually keep anything together. And I am kind of paranoid because I have a promo Imperial Seal. It's laying around here unsleeved somewhere. And I'm freaking out just thinking about it. Rosavig XD. Hello, how's it going? Brian Okafor says, I got 8 decks, gonna make Alila my 9th deck. Alila's a really cool commander option. That's a great choice. I love flexible commander options, and not just flexible because you can do several things with one deck, but flexible in the sense that if you want to go in one direction and then go in one completely different direction with the same commander, you can do that. And that's what's cool about Alila, is that you can go either pure artifact or pure enchantment, or you can go pure fairy or pure flying. And you can of course still combine any of those strategies. How's it going, Fidel Jason? The Kinios and Tyro, that's the commander, I think. I forget his other name. Those are the only ones I don't target right away, but are they competitive? It's just group hug. I don't think they're competitive. I haven't seen a competitive deck built around them yet. Oh, okay. Oh, wow. See, I had 70 decks at one point. Took about 10 apart, and I couldn't keep doing it. Yeah, I think just for I have a lot of clutter. A lot of clutter. I have like a table filled with cards, and I need to do something about that. So I'm gonna have to put a lot of decks back together, even if I don't play with them, just so I get to store cards away. Baladros is sweet, but Galazeth has my heart. To each his own. Here we go. Vidius808. How do you deal with deck paralysis? I get overwhelmed with all the options. I've been stuck on decks for years, always finding something else to add and switch out for something better. That's my problem too. I think that we have the same kind of problem, Vidius808. It's I get overwhelmed, and what I'll do is I'll go on like Card Kingdom or TCG Player, and then I'll find a commander option, and then I'll build from there. Then I get to checkout, and then I see it's like $300, and then and then I ask myself, is this $300? Is that worth the experience? Is this experience worth the $300? And then and then I put it back, and then I just delete my cart. I empty my cart, and then I try with another commander trying to get something cheaper. It never works out, and I inevitably just settle on what I already have here. Cinder Shadow Gaming just stopping in to say congrats. 20K, that's crazy. Thank you so much for stopping by. It's a great problem to have. Yeah, it's a good problem, especially if you've been looking at card values recently. Gosh, I mean, February was such a big month. January and February, just looking at all the reserve list cards spiking. Man, I live with, I'm happy I invested in a lot of the cards that I have, but at the same time, I'm like, I wish I have every single dual land. Wish I had them. I have dual lands, but I don't have all of them. Now it's pretty much guaranteed I'm not getting them. unless I win the lottery or something. Anyone else in here? Anyone else here have a SRAM Senior Edificer deck? My SRAM deck has made it to the final match in the EDH Commander Challenge Patreon tournament on the BT Game Night YouTube channel. That sounds like a cool thing. I think I've always I set up a Patreon twice for my channel, and I've never kept it. And a lot of the reason why is because it just felt like um I wouldn't be making content that I wanted to make. It was always content that someone else wanted me to make. And that's not always a bad thing, but you have to do it. Like, you have to do it. And I think at one time I had 10 people that I said I would make Commander Deck Tech videos for in a month. So they all get like one Deck Tech video a month. And that was a nightmare because it's a lot of work to make Deck Tech videos with the editing. I didn't have that much time. So I did it for 1 month and I was incredibly overwhelmed. And so I just said, I'm taking down the Patreon. I can't do that anymore. And then I think I continued it again, but I raised the tier for deck techs. I forget what the dollar amount was per month for the Patreon tier where you get a deck tech per month. But I thought that would make it better. Nope. Still ended up getting more people wanting deck tech videos per month. And I found out pretty quickly that's not something I can do. Because it's not my full-time job. You know, it's just something I do on the side, so it has to be doable. And that's a little bit of advice if anyone's in the chat here looking to do their own YouTube thing, looking to set up a Patreon. Make sure it's doable because it's pretty overwhelming. All right, let's see. Let me keep up with the chat here. Jerry Bryant says, what was the longest game of Magic you have played? Mine was 7 hours with a Sliver Tribal and Rat Tribal. Yeah, I don't think I've ever played that long, at least in one game. I've definitely played with friends for that long, but the longest I've ever played in a single game, it would have to be a casual setting where we're playing with 6 or more people. And this was, I forget exactly where, but it had to be like at least 4 hours. At least 4 hours. Which is pretty long. Pretty long. I think the average Commander game lasts about an hour to an hour and a half. Sometimes it's 2 hours. But yeah, if it gets to the if it gets to be that long, sometimes it's just not enjoyable, especially if you're going to like a party or a get together specifically for Magic the Gathering. Like I've done it a couple times. You'll have people standing around. You'll have people watching like a 6-player multiplayer game, and that's the worst. That's absolutely the worst because everyone likes to have their conversations in the middle of a 6-player multiplayer game, and nobody knows whose turn it is. The person whose turn it is, they're taking like an hour figuring out what they want to do. It's the worst. Never do stick with 4 players. Keep it to 4 players, unless there's like no one else around. All right. Why Volunteer says, what do you like doing most in a Commander game? Also, congrats. Well, thank you. What I like doing the most in a Commander game is probably politics. I like persuading my opponents or one opponent to gang up on another opponent. That's what I love doing the most. And for the longest time, I think I conflated that with group hug, and I do love group hug. It's just politics is more entertaining. Because yeah, I'm kind of I like to talk smack during a game. So unfortunately in my recent gameplay video you couldn't hear my audio. But whenever someone like removes one of my permanents, I just say, "You chose war." You chose war, my friend. And I like just being all political. I don't know. I like doing favors for some players and then earning favors later on in the game. Janet Lee, your top 10 lists for each set make me buy cards every time. Thanks for making me go broke. I guess you're welcome or not. I don't know. Thanks for stopping by. Yeah, a lot of people like my top 10 lists. I think I did a poll a while ago where I said out of the three types of videos I make the most, the deck tech ones, the top 10s, and the underrated commander cards videos, I think it was pretty even, which is like the worst thing to have in a poll when all three options get like 33.3% of the vote. Because then you don't know exactly what to do. You were trying to figure out, what do I focus on? Well, I'm back to square one. Let me just do all three of them at the same time. Hexproof Anarchist also likes the top 10 lists. The top 10s are a nice inclusion. It's not boring here, and I enjoy that. It is hard to do 10 lists because in MTG, so many are the same. Yeah, I agree. I think, well, it has to be different. I mean, you have to, well, obviously, it has to be different. But for something, if you're doing like a top 10 for like colors, color specific top 10s, uh, you obviously want to wait before you ever do another one. So, how I do it is I wait for a year or two, and then I'll call it a redux. I'll call it a redux series. So that's what I did back in January. Did the redux videos. And some people do not respond well to things outside the norm. I mean, that's just how people on the internet are going to be, Commander the Gathering. And I used to be, my attitude towards people who disagreed with me, earlier on, I was like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong? It's time to panic. Someone disagreed with me in the comment section. What am I doing wrong? And then I grew out of that. I grew out of that because everything's subjective here. Whenever we do a top 10 video, whenever we give our opinion on a card, you're going to have people out there who are going to disagree with you. That's life. So the difference, though, is that in my comment section, I can handle criticism. But if I get someone in there who insults me, which it rarely ever happens, but when it does, I'll get someone for no reason. They'll say something like, "You don't know what you're talking about. This was stupid," or something like that. I block them. I hide them from my channel because I have no time for disrespect. It's the same thing for when people go into my comment section looking to fight with people, looking to argue and trade insults. I've got no time for that. I've got no time for that whatsoever. There's a place for criticism, and then there's a place for nastiness. It's not in my comment section, and it shouldn't be in anyone else's. So that's how I handle criticism. It's just part of life. Doesn't bother me. And you can always ignore it too and just do whatever you want to do. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about YouTube is that if you have like 100 people liking what you're doing, if one person doesn't like what you're doing, just look at the 100 people who like what you're doing and view that as validation and ignore the one person. I mean, that's your right. Hexproof Anarchist says, "What is the nastiest deck you have gone up against?" Ooh. God, the nastiest deck I have gone up against. I've gone up against some pretty nasty ones. I would have to say this deck kind of gave me PTSD. Is Narset Enlightened Master. And it's the same friend I'm playing with in my recent Commander gameplay video. Is his deck. I mean, this is, God, 4 or 5 years ago when he started playing against me. And I think we met too. We met 4 or 5 years ago, and we've been hanging out ever since. So He's been playing some really competitive decks. This was back before I knew anything about competitive EDH. So he was playing Narset Enlightened Master, and the whole point of the deck was to get her out like turn 2 or 3, and then swing and take infinite turns, extra combat steps, and there was no way to stop this deck. Earlier on facing it, there's just no way to stop it. You could only hope that in a multiplayer game, everyone gangs up on that deck, but there were several times where there weren't other people to play with, so 1v1 this same Narset deck over and over again. That had to be the most brutal, without a doubt. A curious case concerning collapse. Never play more than 4 LOL, even that one extra person adds at least 30 minutes to that game. Absolutely. That's what I'm talking about. You can't do that. You can't commit to 5 players or more. Because it is a time thing, and also it's a table space thing as well. Because once you get 5 people there, you're gonna have someone who's having a hard time seeing what someone else is doing. So if you have, unless you have like a round table, if it's a round table and everyone is equidistant from each other, it might be easier to see what 5 people are doing. But if you're at, for most people, you're at some kind of long table, it's like a rectangle, and the 5th person is sitting at the end and across from no one. So they have to look at what everyone else is doing at the far side of the table, and the far side of the table people have to then reach over to look at what that person's doing. And that makes it a nightmare too. There was a variation I think my playgroup played where if you had 5 people in a commander game, you had it was different than just like a free for all. You had allies to your side. So to your left and your right, those are people you couldn't attack until someone else was eliminated. And it made it easier for you to target someone else out of the game. It made the game quicker. It's hard to explain. But I just remember there being something unique about 5 players one time. One time I played one of those games. It was pretty cool. Just add misplay. Hey Void, so glad you came back, man. Good stuff. Thanks for showing up here. Thank you all for showing up here tonight. I enjoy making more content now. I'm trying to make videos every single day, including the weekends. I think my official schedule now is at the bare minimum Monday through Friday. And let me get a drink of water here. Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern. That's my official schedule. But I kind of want to make videos every single day, so I'll make videos on the weekend too. But I like doing what I'm doing right now. I like talking to people. Commander of the Gathering, if I missed this question before, sorry, but what are your thoughts on the way Strix shifted the colors for the set? Do you think it'll be around like that again, or just this one-off? I mean, that's kind of what we see all the time. It's usually just a one-off. But yeah, what you're talking about here is like color shifted abilities. So you'll have like life gain in black and green. It's not typically something that black and green focuses on. What's another one? Black and white is more of a group hug political strategy. Not necessarily like color shifted, but it's unusual. It's not the normal for white and black. And what's another one? What's another one? White and red is kind of Spellslinger with Velamachus Lorehold. I guess that's kind of a color shift. Jerry Bryant says, have you ever built a deck to try and get one opponent to win as your goal? Sorry for the weird questions. No, I've totally built commander decks for one opponent in my play group in mind. And that's kind of, that goes back to the Narset deck, that story. I've built decks with the sole purpose of dealing with that quickly. You're just dealing with that commander option quickly. Would you say that you are good at guessing which cards that come out will be expensive? I took a gamble on Hull Breacher because you had it at number one on your list, and now it's ballooned in price. Well, that's that's good to know. Um, I think yeah, for the most part, I can guess what's going to be good, not necessarily what's going to be expensive. And I've already heard people talk about Wandering Archaic. That's the creature that it's colorless. You can fit it into any deck, and if an opponent pays 2 mana, you won't get the copied instant or sorcery that they played. But that's such a cool card. I'm already seeing it in some CEDH builds, by the way. But it's something anyone can play in Commander, and that's usually the sign of a powerful card. Is that if it offers you the power to copy something like a tutor spell, it could copy a Swords to Plowshares, it could copy a board wipe or whatever. Not a board wipe, but you know what I mean. Just good spells. Something like Cultivate, for instance. You know, good value spells. Everyone's going to play them. How many decks do you have? What's your top three? I don't have. I really don't have a lot of Commander decks. I've built a ton. I've probably built 200 to 300 Commander decks. And you can go and check that right now if you find me on Tapped Out. In addition to the decks I've recently made on Moxfield, it probably adds up to at least 200 decks, if not closer to 300, and maybe even more than that. I don't know. I've been making decks quite frequently for the past 4 years. My top three decks that I have. Well, one of my favorite commanders of all time. If you watch me, you know it's Prosh, Sky Raider of Care. That's one of my, if not my top commander. Also, Teysa Orzhov Scion has always been one of my favorite commanders. Love that old school Guild Pact. I love those legendary creatures from the original Ravnica set. They all interacted with a specific color, or one of each color of their 2 colors. And that was my favorite of all the commanders. Like you had Momir Vig for blue and green. You had Savara for black and green. Any of the other ones didn't really care about. I pulled a Hull Breacher right into my Beckett Brass deck. Well, that's good to know. Beckett Brass, that was I remember when she came out and everyone's like, I want to play a pirate deck. But all the pirates were awful when Ixalan came out. So you were pretty much stuck with some bulk commons and uncommons, and you had to play with them because they were pirates. Void, do you think the ban list should be reworked given the power creep over the last few years? I think it totally should. We need to bring back banned as a commander. I think that's what a lot of people are agreeing on. We have a lot of commander options that need to be banned as a commander. We have a lot of commander options that I think need to be unbanned as one of the 99. So I think there's totally ways that we can work around with that. I guess I should reword the first part. I don't know if we have as many creatures that need to be banned as commanders, but I think it should definitely just that the existence of a banned as a commander list that needs to come back. Because it existed before for some really weird commander options. Like, I don't know if you guys remember Kokosho, the Evening Star. That was banned as a commander like 8 years ago. It's not a powerful commander. Like, nobody plays Kokosho as a commander, at least that I know of. And yeah, you can totally take advantage of commander death triggers now, but it's still not that interesting. Like, people want interesting commanders to build around. So I totally think something like Leovold should just be banned as a commander. I think like Braids, Cabal Minion, should be unbanned, period. But if we have to settle for banned as a commander, I would totally settle for that. You find out Jason, water, grass, the sky. These are all things that exist. A curious case concerning collapse. I want white to have devotion draw. A 3 mana, 2 white, draw cards equal to your devotion to white. Then your opponent draws cards equal to their devotion to white. Make it white has group hug draw. Yeah, they do have there's a 3 mana spell that does exactly what you're saying here. I think it's 3 mana white, you draw 3 cards and target opponent draws 3 cards. Let me look it up. It's a very good card. And I'm going to go on Scryfall here. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Secret Rendezvous. Let me share my screen. Da, 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 da. This is the card. Yeah, 3 mana sorcery. You and target opponent each draw 3 cards. That's really good. That's really good. Even if you end up giving it to an opponent, the fact that you have a 3 for 3 in white, that's pretty cool. And there were also like the truce cards too that kind of did the same thing. My volunteer says any archetype strategy you've been trying to make work but can't quite get there. That's a good question. I think there's always like a tribe that you want to work with, but you just don't have enough cards. And what I really wanted to make was I think minions. Was it minions or horrors? I think minions. It was what am I thinking of? There's some minions from like going all the way back to like Torment, and you get some really cool minion cards. And I'm like, I'm gonna make a minion tribal commander deck, but there's just not enough. Yeah, Chainer Dementia Master, that's the one. And that's kind of like why volunteer. That's it always ends up being some kind of tribe that there isn't enough support for. And that used to be clerics. But we have more tribal support for clerics now. Took some time and thought, was like, well, normally I spend time looking for ways to make colors and commanders unique. Strix kind of did that for me, and I wasn't used to it. Paid a lot of money into Dragon Shield, huh? Yeah. Card sleeves, that's another thing too. You have a lot of cards laying around, you also have a lot of card sleeves. And it's kind of hard to stack card sleeves that don't have cards in them. You just have like piles of warped plastic everywhere. So I end up having to, like, I have worn out sleeves. I chuck them in the trash. Gotta get that H2O. What it do, baby? Thank you, Vidal Peterson. Doing great. Pirates plus Sundial of the Infinite. Or you could play like Obeka, right? I don't think Obeka's a pirate though. I think there should be a band as commander and band in commander. Would that just be like band in a commander deck? Like band is one of the 99? Dayton Gray says, good job. Thank you so much. Walking Donut says hello. How's it going? Angry Mexican, you're the one I did the Fantas Deck Doctor video for. 20K subs, dang. Absolutely. It is quite dang. It's a milestone I've been looking forward to for a while now. And I'm just going to keep pushing it. I'm just going to keep pushing it. I'm going to keep making videos just about every single day. And I want to start collaborating with other YouTubers too. That's the one thing. I said I would do it if I climbed back to 20,000 after spending the early part of 2020 almost giving up entirely on this channel. I would go and talk to some of the channels that I used to. I don't think I was ever really close to other channels, but I did have fun with. I don't know if you guys know the Magic Historian, formerly known as MTG Purple. But I remember back in 2017, we both had under 300 subs, under 500 subs, something like that. And I liked his videos. I think I was the first to reach out to him because I thought he had a great voice. He was funny. He had his own character, his own little avatar. Not like a VTuber thing, but it was like a little animated avatar dude just hanging around, and he would narrate over his video. And he had maybe 350 subs at the time. And I was looking at him going hey, you want to hang out? You just want to talk Magic the Gathering? You want to help each other grow? We could totally do that. I could see our channels being at 20 to 30,000. I think he's at 33,000 subs now. But here we are. Ton of subs. 4 years later. I thought he was pretty funny too. I thought he had a very goofy personality that you're not going to find elsewhere. You're just not going to find someone like him somewhere else in the community. God, I could talk all day about MTG Purple. Vehicles are finally viable, I think. I love King Makar vehicles. King Makar is a great commander for vehicles. Our market research shows that players really like really long card names, so we make this card to have the absolute longest card name forever, Elemental. They just did that for basic lands too in the secret layer, right? Pretty much just have all text basic lands. Walking Donut says, what are your thoughts on Chaos Moon? What is Chaos Moon? Might have heard of it. During each player's upkeep, count the number of permanents. If that number is odd, all red creatures get +1/+1, and mountains produce an additional red when tapped for mana until end of turn. If the number is even, all red creatures get -1/-1, and mountains produce colorless mana instead of their normal mana until end of turn. That's pretty crazy. I've heard of it before, but I've never seen it played. That's totally a chaos card. Tayton Gray says, congratulations on 20K. You deserve it. Thank you so much, Tayton. Fidel Jason says, I like Eldritch Moon. I don't know. I don't know about that whole was that two card or two set block Shadows over Innistrad. I wasn't the biggest fan of it. Kind of the same problem that we had with Battle for Zendikar. A lot of Eldrazi specific synergies that were really only relevant in those sets, so they didn't quite age well. But it has its good cards. Uh, oh yeah, congrats on number go up. Awesome. Dylan Wishart says, "Do you ever limit the power of the decks you build for reasons other than budget?" I think all the time. Yeah. If you're just playing casually, if you have a themed commander game, like what I do in my play group now, we'll play some crazy theme, and naturally, as a consequence of just focusing on a weird theme, you're not going to be playing the best cards. Your deck isn't going to be optimized. Asri Ramat says, "What do you think about budget decks?" I think they're perfect. I think there's a lot of commander channels, in the Magic the Gathering community that got big because of budget decks. Commander's Quarters is one of them. I mean, that's really where he got to be so big, because he was like the only channel that put in the thumbnail, "Hey, you want to make a deck for $13?" Everyone's like, "Whoa, $13? These pre-con decks that are trash, I have to pay $35 for them. Totally, sign me up." And it's actually good. It's actually built to win. So yeah, budget decks are awesome. Austin says, "Congrats on 20K subs. Thank you so much. Been watching your content for a while and hilarious. Have not been subscribed. So now you have one more sub." Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I appreciate all of you who have subscribed today. Yo, bro, you see EDH deck building demo, new guy, but old school player? He's super cool to watch. I have not seen him. I need to get back to watching Magic the Gathering content on YouTube, because I don't do it. I don't know what it is. I am subscribed to a few channels, but I don't watch a lot of content. That's the only downfall about YouTube, is that when you do YouTube stuff, you kind of get worn out and you're like, "So what am I going to do in my free time? Oh, let me watch these other people who are doing the same exact thing that I'm doing to remind me of what I'm not doing right now." It's I don't know, it's kind of weird. Prophet of Krufix did nothing wrong. I agree. Prophet of Krufix was so fun. I think Prophet got banned like a year or two after I started playing Commander, and I swear, I mean, it did kind of deserve to get banned at the time, because if your deck was playing blue and green, there was no reason why you wouldn't play her. Cesar Perez says, "My guy got 20K. Shit." I don't swear here, but I appreciate it. The Amitar says, "Keep up opening your videos with the wasabi, guys. It's your trademark opening. Like, here's Johnny." Or another trademark opening. Get ready for this one. "Hey everyone, it's Seth. Probably better known as Saffron Olive." That's one of my favorite intros. "It's Seth. Here to talk about Legacy and Commander." God, I love that guy. I love that guy's voice. It's weird. Did anyone else, like, when you saw what that guy looked like, you're like, "No way. This guy did not look like how he sounded." Usually I have fun when I try to find cheaper cards. that do similar things to expensive cards. Yeah. That's what you can do with a lot of competitive decks too. You can dial the competitiveness down. So you choose budget options. Like if you can't afford dual lands, you would go for shock lands. If your deck wasn't already playing shock lands, of course. And if you need a substitution for those, you have like the pain lands. So you pay a life to tap for one of two colors. Janet says, I might have missed this, but what was your opinion of Commander Legends? I know you weren't a fan of the new Commander deck, so I was curious if you'd be up for Commander Legends too. I loved Commander Legends, Janet. I thought Commander Legends was the best product in a long time. In fact, I think that's where we have a lot of the best Commander options. I think Commander Legends as a set so far is stronger than what we've had in 2021 here. I really do. I think mechanically the cards are better. The commander options, while something like Arshalos, the creature where you get to control permanents that are tapped and untapped and you control how they enter. While that's kind of awkward to build around, it's still unique and it's going to age well because of that. And you have things like Obeka, so you can fool around with ending the turn and keeping creature tokens that would normally expire at the end of turn. You have Arami, and that's a brand new ability of Encore, which is something I think we're missing from these newer sets here. Strixhaven and Commander 2021 is unique keywords. I know we have Learn, we have Ward, but Ward is kind of a boring ability. Doesn't really offer anything brand new. Liam Moore Gerard, sorry if I mispronounced that. I love to watch your videos a lot. Keep up the awesome and amazing work. Well, thank you so much. And congrats on your 20K. Thank you. Cheers, fam. I'm out for the night. Here's to another 10K subs by next year. Hopefully. That would be awesome. Blue-black vehicles helmed by skeleton ship. Chaos Moon reminded me of Tidal Influence. I never knew Chaos Moon existed. It's a pretty cool looking card. All the way back in Ice Age. It's pronounced she. Yep. Yep, I've seen that. It's a classic. The first set I ever owned was Saviors of Kamigawa and Betrayers of Kamigawa. Yeah, those sets get dumped on all the time. A lot of people talk trash about the original Kamigawa block, but it had flavor. At least it tried. Like Bushido. Bushido was such a bad keyword. Such a boring one too. But at least you had samurais. Like you had cool stuff in there too. Artwork was awesome. I mean, we're gonna return to Kamigawa here soon anyway. But it was a good set. Good block. Encore plus Sundial of the Infinite. Yep. Yep. Loved Commander Legends. My favorite set. It's a great box to open. I think you get some great value there too. We get Jeweled Lotus, get like Vampiric Tutor, Scroll Rack. Very good pulls. Walking Donut says, what's your favorite deck you own? I think I've answered this a couple times already, but I don't really own like any complete put together deck right now. I have piles of cards, but favorite deck would probably be for my favorite commander of all time, and that's Prosh Sky Raider of Care from Commander 2013. I'm not sure what I loved about Commander Legends. The commanders, the partners, or the lore references. Gosh, I love lore. Yeah, we did get a little bit, a little bit of everything there. Angry Mexican says, I started with 6th edition, the beatdown box man, back when Wizards had actual storefronts. What a time to be alive. Now it's like they don't even want other stores to be around. They don't even want, other people to be around. They don't want other stores to be around. I shouldn't say that, but, with all of my complaints about Wizards of the Coast, that has to be my biggest one, and I think you all know that. You all know the, game stores, especially ones that are specifically, they're around to be for the community. They're the community game store, and all they specialize in is like Magic the Gathering and Pokemon. Those are they're going the way of Blockbuster. And that's kind of sad. Is this live stream going to be saved on your channel? Probably. I took down I unlisted one of my previous live streams because it was a deck building one where I was going to make a video about it later that week. And this is probably just going to stay up because I'm not doing anything like working on a future video. If I was working on a future video, I would probably take the live stream down. So yeah, the previous ones I took down because I want there to be some kind of exclusivity there. For the people who show up, you get to see me when I'm there. The first draft box I ever opened was Commander Legends. I got a foil Vampiric Tutor and Jeweled Lotus. Awesome. Sounds awesome there. Yeah, it's a great one to open if it's your first one. Downside, of course, being most people probably couldn't draft it. But, I still have fun playing with Zoom. I play on like Zoom calls with my friends. Play like 97 to about 2001, then enlisted, and then started playing again in 2015 with Kaladesh. Awesome. Yeah, there's a lot of people who quit around the early aughts and they get back in with something like Return to Ravnica. I haven't heard about people getting back in with Kaladesh though. I mean, that was a good set to get back into. Yeah, you get like a lot of good sets in between that time period. Homelands, Dominaria, Fallen Empires. Then you missed out on God, like that was right around the time too. People thought it was gonna die. And then you had Mirrodin. Then you had Kamigawa, which then people were kind of unsure again. And then you had the original Ravnica block, and people were like, ew, we're back. We're back. Most of the commanders I own are from Kaldheim. All of them are showcase. Sounds pretty cool, Fidel Jason. Walking Donut says, what are your thoughts on combo decks? I think combo decks are, they're fine. I think, my complaints about combo decks in the past have always been about how involving is your combo? Is it like a 2-card combo that you're going to get to every single game very early on? Because if that's the case, then it's going to be pretty boring. And I say that, of course, as someone who plays most of my games casually. But, combo decks, if you're playing in a competitive arena, yeah, go for it. Play whatever you want. Do you play MTGO? Commander Replay is a channel that plays and does commentary. You could play Prosh as your main and do Patreon games. I remember, and this might blow your mind here, but I remember when Commander Replay 4 years ago had like maybe 300 something subs, and I had like 17. And I remember watching his MTGO gameplay videos, I think he was still pretty early on in his channel. And I commented, I said, "Hey, this is some pretty cool gameplay." I think he responded to me too. And again, I don't watch too much stuff though, so it's kind of hard to keep in contact with people. But yeah, I mean, I would totally do something like that. Maybe not MTGO, but I would totally do like Zoom call stuff. So I would play with a webcam, and that would be pretty awesome. I'll tell you what though, a content creator I really like is a Commander Dojo. So if you haven't subscribed to that guy, I highly recommend you subscribe to the Commander Dojo. You know what? Let me bring up his channel. Let me bring up his channel. 'Cause I like the way this guy does videos. Let's see. Commander Dojo. All right, let me share. Okay. Share screen, share audio. Make sure I get the right window here. There we go. So this is the Commander Dojo. He's got over 7,000 subs, but he's been doing this for a while too. He took a long break and he's just now starting to make more videos. I really like this guy.
Hey there, welcome to the dojo. Sensei Lex here. This game is part 2 of a gameplay series that I had the privilege of doing with Play to Win. The whole theme behind this is supposed to be meme-worthy CEDH decks, those kind of obscure, off-the-wall brews that make people's heads spin whenever they see them pop off. Setting this game up was a huge challenge. There were a lot of technical difficulties along the way. It was definitely frustrating as hell at times, but I think we all managed to find a few good laughs and a few silver linings in what would seem like a pretty irritating situation overall.
You know what? Hold up now. Now I gotta replace the batteries in my phone.
Oh, Jesus Christ, Cameron.
No, those are the Play to Win guys too. So, those are just he's one of the content creators I really like. I like his voice. And I think I did a collaboration for a Brago video he was doing. I think I did an accent too. I did like a British accent for Brago. I don't remember exactly why, but yeah, it was funny. That was just about 2-3 years ago. He took a long break. I remember him saying goodbye. I think or he didn't say goodbye, but he put out like an emotional video talking about how he was going through a tough time personally. I felt bad for him too. But then he took a long break and I felt really sad because he was a good content creator. Mark C says, "Hey Void, what's your fave commander? Congrats on the 20K. Thank you so much. My favorite commander is Prosh, Sky Raider of Care from Commander 2013. Liam says, "What is your favorite set and/or block from Magic the Gathering?" It probably is the original Ravnica one. Probably is. I think you have. I know, like Mirrodin, in terms of power, you get nothing but power. But original Ravnica, I think, just the introduction of the different guilds, that did it for me. That was when I realized I like flavor, I like synergy, and that's what you build decks around. And before, up to that point, I don't think we really had synergy like that. I don't think people quite realize the importance of Ravnica in Magic the Gathering, if I can talk. the importance of Ravnica is that you have those guilds. You have an understanding of what these color pairings do. And while they existed before, you had different color pairings, obviously, before Ravnica. Ravnica really drove home that point. These are what the ally colors do. This is what the enemy colors do. Besides slivers, which is the right answer, what is your favorite 5-color commander deck? My favorite 5-color commander is probably Corona False God. I love me some Corona Group Hug, Corona Politics, Corona Tribal. Not the coronavirus, though. Yeah, Dojo was great, hilarious videos, and was gone for like 2 years. Now he's all CEDH. Ugh. Some people are like that. They don't like the CEDH stuff. So that's why I haven't really committed to doing nothing but CEDH content. I find it incredibly interesting, but I also want to appeal to people who play nothing but casual. So I try to split it up there. I make some CEDH content now. And when I talk about cards, I'm always aware of what's going on in that arena. Hey, Void, what's your favorite commander? Void, who's your favorite Prosh? Is your style aristocrats or more junned him up Voltron? The cool thing about Prosh as a commander is that he's like a jack of all trades. So if you want to play aristocrats, you can do that. If you want to play Voltron, you can do that. All in the same deck. If you want to commit to any of those strategies, you can do that as well. But it was really one of those first commanders where I realized I could make this as competitive as I want to make it. And that's what you could do with Food Chain. You could make a Food Chain Prosh deck, and while it's not like a top tier CEDH deck, for a long time it won me some games. Commander the Gathering, I think he said Corvald is his favorite. Oh, okay. I see what you're doing. Walking Donut, Void, do you like Pauper? I haven't played Pauper in a while. Last Pauper deck I played was Affinity, a Tog. You know what I'm talking about? You had like a Tog, and you could sacrifice artifacts and pretty much make him massive and then just kill someone. But you also had some really good Affinity cards, and Affinity was probably one of the best Pauper decks. I don't know if they've nerfed it, though. I hit my knee on something. If you were to create a commander, what would it be? And now I can't tell if you guys are just messing with me. But if I were to create a commander... Oh, I guess if we're talking about just creating one that doesn't already exist. If I were to create one, I would probably make another 4-color commander. I'm not kidding. We have those from, Commander 2016, but we didn't get any more. So why not make more? We got a ton of 5-color commanders. They're still making them. Let's give an identity to 4-color commanders. So I would make something for each of those, the 5 different 4-color combinations. And I would try to adhere to the previous commanders. So in the Atraxa colors, white, blue, green, and black, I would focus on +1/+1 counters and try to figure out a new way of doing that. Maybe even reintroduce Proliferate again. In the Saskia colors, so that's white, black, green, and red, you can again do combat manipulation, but that's kind of boring. So maybe switch it up with some kind of token pump strategy. I don't know. And then Maybe do like Cascade with Idris. That's what I would do. I would just make more 4-colored options. Because we got more partners, we got more Planeswalker commanders. I think 4-color, we gotta go back there. Gotta go back there. All right, I'm probably gonna wrap up the stream right now, so I want to thank you all for stopping by. And Commander of the Gathering says, nice on the 20K Void. Cheers all. Yes. Thank you all for stopping by, and thank you for helping me get to that milestone. Yeah, it's something I'm eternally grateful for. Definitely going to remember this. I'm going to go forward, going to keep pushing this channel to see what I can do. And later on this year, I plan on getting myself like a green screen, a webcam. I'm going to do some, you're going to see my face. You're going to see you're going to see me in all my glory. So anyway, hope you all have a wonderful day. Signing off here. Hope you all have a wonderful night.